Local presentation of Read About It is made possible in part by a grant from Cox Communications of Oklahoma City, proud sponsor of this effort to promote reading, education, and literacy in our community. The following public service program is brought to you by the Metropolitan Library System. And now, Read About It with your host, B.J. Williams.
We have a great show for you today, including an interview with romance writer Dorothy Garlock about her new book, Song of the Road. But first, coming up, we have an interview with Pauline Rodriguez talking with Susie Beasley about a great new novel.
Pauline, Dumping Billy by Olivia Goldsmith. In this book, is somebody really trying to dump Billy?
Well, no. Actually, the point is to be dumped by Billy.
Now, why would someone want to be dumped?
Well, Kate, the main character, has a best friend from childhood named Bina. And at the beginning of the story, Bina's all excited because her love of her life, her boyfriend of several years, is about to propose.
Okay.
But instead of proposing, he breaks up with her.
Just the opposite.
Absolutely. So then one of Kate's other friends discovers that every woman who dates Billy and gets dumped by him
Yes.
gets married shortly thereafter.
So what's the plan after that?
The
What do they
plan
start
is
concocting?
to have Billy date Bina, dump Bina, so that her true love will come to his senses and propose.
Now, does this plan, does it kind of work out? Where does it go from here?
It kind of seems like it's working, at least at first. It takes some doing, but they get Billy to date Bina, and Bina doesn't like him all that well. But after all she wants is for him to dump her. But in the meantime, Kate is finding out she really likes Billy.
Okay, so just the opposite has occurred. Now, what about the old boyfriend?
Well,
What's
when
his-
he turns back up unexpectedly, they have to get Billy to dump Bina in a real hurry. So Kate throws herself at Billy, and hey, Billy dumps Bina, Bina gets her proposal, Kate gets Billy. Happy ending, right?
I don't know, because Olivia Goldsmith, she's always throwing these curves, so what else is going on in this book?
Well, you would know, inevitably, Billy finds out what Kate has done, and he's angry, and he dumps her,
Oh.
the one woman who doesn't want to be dumped by Billy, and she really loves him, so now what can she do to get him back?
I don't know. So with Olivia Goldsmith, writing these books, and then she passed away fairly recently, what's going to go on with her books?
Well, I suppose at this point that this is her last novel forever, which is a real shame. And of course, her death was most unfortunate and most untimely. But those of us who work in libraries and the book business know that just because somebody dies doesn't mean that their books quit coming out.
Right, because someone can kind of take up the name and carry it on, kind of like
Right.
P.C. Andrews and all.
Yes.
So back to the book Dumping Billy, how is this different from some of her other works? The characterization, the character development.
Well, it kind of falls along in the same pattern because you have a large cast of characters and a lot of interweaving plots without giving too much away.
And that's always a good thing. Well, this is one of the books that I know that people just could be running to the library to pick up, Dumping Billy by Olivia Goldsmith. This is a fairly new book, and it's available at your local library and perhaps your local bookstore.
I know it is wet, and the sun is not sunny.
Hi, my name is Jose Jimenez of your Metropolitan Library Commission. You know, most experts tell us that if you just spend 20 minutes a day reading to your child, you're not only building a bond that lasts a lifetime, but you're also preparing that child to learn how to read. Check with the experts at your Metropolitan Library for suggestions on just the right books for you and your family. And visit us at our website at www.metrolibrary.org.
I'm here now with Doug Benton of the Oklahoma Gazette and the Metropolitan Library System. And Doug, it's still summertime.
Yes, it is. In fact, it's just getting to be summertime. Yeah.
Really, really summertime. So I am going to talk about some more great summer reads. I picture
Which for you must be
science fiction.
Yeah.
Yes, indeed. This is the latest book by David Weber. He is best known for his Honor Harrington series, which is hard science fiction set in the future with spaceships and the whole bit. But he also writes, or I should say dabbles in fantasy. And this one is Windrider's Oath. It is a hardback. It's the third one, featuring a great adventurous fellow that goes around doing good, I think is the best way to describe the plot. It's set in a fantasy world that has gods of light and gods of dark, and I think we can guess some of them are trying to do good and some of them are trying to be really naughty.
Yeah.
And there are 5 races of men. The wizards have been playing around with our gene sequencing, and they've created a number of representatives. And our hero is let me see if I can pronounce this right, Hradani. And they are the race of men that is least liked by anybody else. They were used by the evil wizards back in the bad old days, and they're just now recovering from it, but they do not have a good reputation among the other 4 races. But this guy has become what is called a champion of Tomonok, and Tomonok is the god of war as well as the god of justice, which I found a bit of a chuckle. I don't think most wars are very just, but he goes around, trying to resolve problems, stop wars, that sort of thing. And Windrider's Oath, as I said, is the third one. If you like adventure, if you like great characters, spiced with a little bit of humor, I would highly recommend Windrider's Oath, and then the 2 before that, which are the Oath of Swords and the War God's Own.
Do you need to read them in order? I mean, are they connected?
They are somewhat connected, but they're standalone. I think you could pick up any one of them and enjoy it on its own. If you enjoy it, you're going to want to get the other 2.
Right.
But if you get the hardback, you will get a CD, which has 40 novels that are published by Baen Publishing Company.
Just excerpts from them?
No, the whole novel. 40 whole novels. The publisher says he's hoping you'll get tired, you'll get a crick in your neck reading them on your computer screen.
So you'll go out and you buy the books.
And buy the books. I don't know if that's actually the way it's going to work or not, but they do slip these CDs into a number of their hardback books. So good summertime reading, nothing too heavy, but very enjoyable.
And 41 for the price of 1.
Absolutely.
Good deal.
It sure is. Coming up next, we have Kids Corner. Kelly Ria will be talking with Shelley Ziegler-Hill about some great books for our teens.
Hi, today we have Shelley Ziegler-Hill from the Dell City Library here. She's the young adult librarian, and she brought a graphic novel. Now, it's a little different than what we remember comic books to be.
Yeah, it's not necessarily, I mean, it is a comic book in a sense, but it's more of a novel where it tells a full story. And this one I brought, Star Wars Doom World, Volume 1, is actually a compilation of the original 1 through 20 issues of the comic book that came out from Marvel Comics between 1977 to 1986.
Wow.
And the first 6 comics kind of sum up the first Star Wars movie, A New Hope, that came out in the 70s. After that, the comics take on their own original stories. And my husband is a very avid Star Wars fan, so he wanted me to note that these other ones weren't necessarily approved by George Lucas. So nowadays, everything that has any type of Star Wars connotation has to be approved by him and his studio. So these weren't necessarily. So they are a little, let's say, corny a bit.
Really?
They're very light and fluffy and funny, which doesn't necessarily go with the whole Star Wars theme if you think about it. So, but they're good. They're very engaging and they're very entertaining. There is a second volume of this series called Dark Encounters, which is out as well. But I just thought I would bring a graphic novel just to show some of the other types of works that we do have at the library, that it's not all classic literature, that there are some really fun other things that perhaps some people who are more visually, I don't know, interested would enjoy this a lot more than something else. I thought it was great. It's really a hoot and it's funny, and I think a lot of people would enjoy it, especially if you like the Star Wars films.
Oh yes, and graphic novels are really good for those tween type male readers, boys,
exactly.
because they're often a lot more visual. And I've been to a workshop where they said these graphic novels will get, you know, young guys into reading.
It will get them
more
into
so.
reading, and it has, like, this is all in color, and it's just very eye-popping. And I'm not knocking graphic novels. I think they're great, but then perhaps they'll want to read maybe some more of the classic literature, or they'll stick with these. These are just fine. I really love graphic novels myself.
Well, I don't blame you. I think they're fun. Thanks for coming, Shelley.
Sure.
This was called Star Wars, and it's a graphic novel. You can find it at your local library or at your favorite bookstore.
I'm back again with Doug Benton. It's still summertime, and Doug, do you have some summer reading?
I have some summer reading, although I wouldn't call it light summer reading because this book weighs 20 pounds if it weighs an ounce.
Oh, my.
It is a heavy thing because it's full of pictures and they're printed on heavy paper. But it's 1001 movies you must see before you die.
Does that mean you can't die until after you've seen all 1001 of them?
I suppose so. And maybe there's going to be another book about movies that you should see after you die. I don't know. I think that's a silly kind of a title, personally. But it is capsule reviews of 1001 films. And most of them are very significant movies. I would say probably maybe 850 of them you need to see. But any book like this is really what it's designed to do, I think, is generate discussion among people who see films. And I think the general editor is a man named Stephen J. Schneider, who's a philosopher from Harvard, and he also does some film work too. He's very much into horror films. He's written a lot on the horror film genre. So I think maybe horror gets a greater nudge in this book than it really
So that's the
deserves in some way.
200 or the 150 that we don't need to see as
Well, no, there are some in other,
okay.
in other genres and other categories as well. Schneider did not write all the reviews in here. He had a group of about 50 people that he relied on to supply some of the reviews, only one of whom I've ever heard of in the past, which doesn't mean anything except that he's not got the Roger Ebert type critics out there writing this book. I forgot what I was going to say there. I was just on the edge of saying something profound, and it completely went out of my head.
Well, it's summertime, Doug.
Yeah, it's summertime, and I'm getting baked already here.
Well, this would be, though, if you enjoy movies but haven't given a great deal of thought about it, it sounds like this would be a good place to start.
It's a good place to start, and all the guys that he has reviewing for him are very good on older films. Although they do tend to pick those titles that are on everybody's lists of favorites or lists of best, and they seem to be limited to films that are pretty readily available on VHS or on DVD. Some of the rarer films that are still good and that still should be seen are not mentioned here. And I don't know whether that was a deliberate decision on their part to just talk about films that most people can find. I don't know. I think they're on shakier ground with some of their decisions when you get into modern films and later our contemporary films. I think they have tried so hard to be fair and evenly balanced in the book that they're including some things that I don't think are going to really meet the test of time.
Yeah, you really don't know about a film till you see it 10 years later, I think.
Yeah.
So, well, thanks very much.
Oh, you're welcome.
Coming up next, we have Community Reads. MJ Van Deventer of the National Cowboy Hall of Fame will be talking with Charles Schroeder, who's Executive Director of, and my apologies, the new title is the National Cowboy and Western Heritage Museum. Anyway, he has a book to share with you.
Welcome, Chuck.
Thank you, MJ.
So nice to have you here.
Well, delighted to be here and participate in this.
And you're talking about a book that I want to read. I haven't had the opportunity yet. How People Grow, Dr. Henry Cloud, Dr. John Townsend. And I suspect that there are really wonderful lessons for life in this book.
There are great lessons in this book, MJ, and it's part of a series of books and other learning aids that Dr. Cloud and Dr. Townsend have written over the years, including Boundaries, Changes That Heal, 12 Christian Beliefs That Will Drive You Crazy. All of their writings grow out of their clinical psychology practice that is based on Christian principles. The thing that I've enjoyed about particularly Dr. Cloud's work that I've read over the years is that he challenges the church speak, if you will, that is so often applied to real-world human problems, and as he puts it, it isn't that they have no effect. In many cases, they help people cope, but they don't get to the real root of the problems of depression, addictions, various relationship problems that people face. And Dr. Cloud and Dr. Townsend have spent their careers bringing genuine Bible-based principles into their practice of psychology and helping to solve those real-world problems. And they make the case, and as is demonstrated time and again in this book, that is not only principles, but backed up with case studies coming from their work over the years, is that too often people separate their religious life from their real life. And the fact is, as they point out in here, all personal growth is spiritual growth. And God very much intends for us to live in relationship with Him and with each other. God's plan A, as they put it in here, is that people are at the base of healing and growth and growing to genuine emotional and spiritual maturity.
And is that really what drew you to the book?
Very much so. I like practical solutions and things that really work. And
I think I know that.
and it's when I can see them demonstrate the success of their work, and frankly now over the years I've had the opportunity to try to apply their principles both in my own life and in working in small groups in churches in 2 locations where I've been. I really am a believer that God intended for us to do well in this life. As they point out, He's for us all the time.
Well, that's a wonderful way to end this session, and this is a book that you would recommend to almost anyone, right?
Absolutely.
Thank you so much for being here.
Thanks for the chance.
Dorothy Garlock is a best-selling, award-winning novelist whose books have been translated into more than 15 languages. I was able to talk with her last month about her new book, Song of the Road. I think you'll enjoy what she had to say about it. Dorothy, Song of the Road is the third in a trilogy, isn't it?
Third of my Route 66 trilogy. The first one was Mother Road, and then Hope's Highway, and now Song of the Road.
Now, the first 2 were set in
Oklahoma, and this one is set in New Mexico.
And it's in a little town that I think you invented, didn't you?
I did. I kind of learned to invent, because sometimes if I have city officials and they're kind of the villains, you know, people in real towns don't like that very well. So this is a fictitious town.
But you brought a couple of characters from the last book into New Mexico as well.
Yes, I did. I brought several of the characters. My characters traveled through my trilogies. Mother Road, I had some of the characters that were in Hope's Highway, and then now in Song of the Road.
Now, in Song of the Road, we have Mary Lee, who is pregnant. She's a widow. Her husband died disreputably, shall we say, and she's going back home. She knows her daddy is dead, but he owned a little motel, I guess is what we call them today, in Crossroads.
Crossroads, New Mexico. It was a little, they call them motor courts in those days, and a little 6 cabins, and there was a space between each cabin to park the car. And she went back to run the motel, and when she got there, she found her mother was an alcoholic, and there was a con artist living in one of the cabinets and an ex-convict living in another, and she was wondering how she was going to be able to make a living for herself and her baby if she couldn't rent all 6 cabins.
And she was having trouble with her father-in-law, who had disowned her husband, but yet he felt he had a proprietary interest in her baby.
Yes, he did. And then there was the villain, of course. I like to have villains in my stories. And this villain didn't want her to have the baby because he was afraid that she would inherit, he or she, whichever it might be, would inherit from her father-in-law. So I have quite a few conflicts going in that book.
Yes, you do. You put that poor child in a mess of trouble.
I did. I sure did. Being pregnant and a widow wasn't enough.
Right. Now, you have lots of nice little touches about living in this time. This is what, 1939?
1933.
33, okay. But you've got wonderful scenes where she's doing the wash for all of these cabins with I can remember my grandmother using one of those old wringer washers.
Oh, yes.
Did you do a lot of research
Well,
for this?
yes, I write in that time period, so I kind of know that time period. And also the Iceman came, you know, you turned the card up in the window for, if you wanted 50 pounds, you had the 50 up, or the 25 up, and the Iceman came and put the ice in the ice box. And of course, then sometimes the pan under the ice box would run over, you know, and it's living in 1932 and 33.
Well, I thought you did a wonderful job of describing that era. I can remember little bits and pieces that were still existing in the 40s. I can remember my grandmother making biscuits and gravy for breakfast, and as I said, using the wringer washer. But I thought you did a great job of giving a feel for it.
Thank you. I also liked. I also wanted my readers to realize how it was to go down that highway at that time, you know. People from the drought, from the dust storms, and from the drought, they came from Oklahoma and traveled Route 66 to California to find a better life. And what they did would be pile all of their furniture on top of the car, in the car with all the kids, and take off down the highway. And of course, in those days, it would be just like us trying to go to Russia or somewhere, because that was they felt that was so far away. But they were desperate, and they needed to find a means of making a living.
Now you have a very engaging young man in here who is an orphan and has actually run away from the orphanage. He apparently got tired of doing dishes.
Yes, he did. They called them throwaway farms in those days. And he ran away. He was 13. He ran away. And I'll probably have him in another book. I'll probably continue on with him.
Well, he's a very engaging character, so I will look forward. I know you had lots of requests from the first 2 books to find a girlfriend for Deke, who is one of your recurring characters, and so you had to work something out for him.
I did. I had to work. Deke was a real endearing old character. He's very short, and he wore cowboy boots and a great big hat, like he was just about 5 feet high, and very homely, but such a sweet character that my email just poured in and said, find a girl for Deke. And so I had to figure out a girl for Deke that wouldn't be any taller than he was. And so I did.
Well, and since you were moving down the road, you had to move him out of the Elk City area and get him over to Crossroads, New Mexico.
Yes, I did. I had him come visit over there, and he found his girl.
Well, that's a great heartwarming aspect to, I think, to your books, is that you can sometimes follow a character through 2 or 3 books and watch them as they sort of paddle down the
I like doing that. I like writing the trilogy, and to tell you the truth, I kind of hated to see this trilogy end. I might sometime write a 4th book and have Eli, the 13-year-old, in the book. But then that's getting, see, Eli will probably be ready to go to the World War II by the time I write the next book. I mean, he will be at that age, because he was 13, and give him, you know, 7, 8 more years, he'll be 20.
Yeah. Well, I was thinking you could move him into Arizona. Maybe he can do something vital for the war without
going to war,
without getting shot at.
Oh, I'd hate to have him go to war. I just really fall in love with some of my characters, and some of them I like, and some of them I don't like. I love to hate the villains. I love for my readers to be able to hate the villains.
Well, you had a juicy one in here. He was a pretty bad piece of work.
Yeah, he was, and he got his, didn't he?
Yes, he did. I think that's sometimes very satisfying to find somebody you hate, like this Lon character, and then realize in the end justice does on occasion prevail.
But that keeps the reader turning the pages, because they want to see if that villain doesn't get his in the end.
Yeah, well, I think he did. And a lot of people learned something, like Mary Lee's father-in-law. Learned quite a bit at the end of the book. I don't want to, spoil the surprise for anybody, but he learned something and was able to grow from it.
Well, I like to have a little moral, in the story too. Something the reader isn't aware they're getting, but that they will get it. I don't set out to do that, just as I don't set out to teach a history lesson. But if it's in there, maybe it makes the book more interesting.
Oh, I think so. And I think you wrote a wonderful book. There's a lot to learn and a lot to enjoy in Song of the Road. Now, very briefly, do you have another book coming out?
Oh, yes. I'm working on right now, which is the 4th book of the 1920 trilogy. And it'll be out in April.
Super.
This next April.
Well, I hope you'll come back and tell us about that.
I would like to, and thank you for having me.
Thank you.
Hi, I'm Donna Morris, Executive Director of your Metropolitan Library System. You know, experts tell us it's never too early to begin reading to a child. If you spend just 20 minutes a day reading to a child, you're not only building a bond that lasts a lifetime, but you're helping that child to prepare to learn how to read. Visit us at the Metropolitan Library System and let us help you select just the right books for you and your family. And be sure and visit our website at www.metrolibrary.org.
You can find out more about Dorothy Garlock at her website, www.dorothygarlock.com. It's time now for our almanac. And Doug, what happened in the literary world in the week of July, beginning July 18th?
Well, we have a couple of births. On July 23rd, 1888 was the birth of Raymond Chandler, who was a very influential and a stylist as a mystery writer. Most mysteries that you see today of the hard-boiled school owe an awful lot to Raymond Chandler, including Robert Parker and several of the others. And on July 24th in 1842 was the birth of the American short story writer Ambrose Bierce. Kurt Vonnegut called Bierce's short story, An Occurrence at Owl Creek Bridge, the greatest American short story. I don't know if I'd go that far, but Bierce is a much underappreciated writer, and people should find his work. I think they would be pleasantly surprised by some of his things.
Yes, and also on the 18th of July in 1925, Mein Kampf was published. Not a highlight in the literary world, but there you go.
Not so pleasantly surprised reading that.
Right. Thanks very much for being with us. We hope you'll join us again next time.